Hey guys, we made it. Finally, the very first episode of our podcast, the Jason Conquers podcast. I'm your host, Lammert, and I'm joined by
Keith Voss. Nice to be here.
Yes, and we're going to talk on this podcast about Friday the 13th, untold stories, interviews with people who haven't been interviewed.
Incredible memorabilia that no one has ever seen before.
Yes, also as well. So, we're trying to offer everyone something new for the Friday the 13th fans out there like us. I mean, we're both very dedicated hardcore fans, as you probably noticed from our from our backgrounds. And let's talk a little bit about ourselves and why did we start this podcast. Keith.
Well, you and I connected over Instagram, over the Jason Conquers account, and you were just posting some amazing stuff I had never seen before as a longtime fan. And it just we just started writing each other, and, we had similar likes, and just outside of Friday the 13th as well. I mean, we're both living in Europe, so we're both on the same time zone, which is really nice. And we just started talking, becoming friends, and realizing how much we had in common, and just chatting about what we liked about Friday the 13th. And we realized how much we liked that. And we wanted to start this podcast to also connect with the other fans out there, people that don't really maybe have a chance to talk so much about something that they love, like Friday the 13th, this series. And we said, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to just record something, turn some of these conversations we're having, record them, and also just share, like I said before, your amazing collection with the world. I mean, because some of the stuff that you post, it's just incredible. So that's really one of the main reasons why we're doing this. And also, it's a good time to be a Friday the 13th fan right now. We're probably going to be getting a couple of movies soon. We're getting Crystal Lake. I mean, the Jason universe has sort of exploded, whether you like it or not. I mean, Jason is kind of back. Jason lives. He's back in the zeitgeist, and we're here to talk about it.
Yeah, most definitely. And like you said, we have the Crystal Lake TV show coming up, which we will also cover extensively. We might also have some of the cast and crew coming on this podcast in the future. Little spoiler there. So we can't wait to talk about it. This very first episode is more about us, and to introduce ourselves to you guys and tell a little bit of the history.
Well, you have way more street cred than I do. I mean, nobody's going to know who I am. Unless they saw the Hearts of Darkness documentary about Jason Goes to Hell. I was in that.
Yes.
You just have way more street cred than me.
So basically, Jason Conquers started as a website in the 90s, around 97, 98. There was nothing. Yeah, there were a few websites on Friday the 13th. The series at that time were still considered like trashy, and there wasn't a community like there is now. I mean, now there's Jason fans everywhere. Jason is everywhere. We have the action figures, the merchandise. I mean, we had the video game, but in the 90s, there was not so much Friday the 13th things going on. So
right. I mean, we only had one movie. We only had Jason Goes to Hell, right? I mean, so that was, after the Paramount series and New Line took it over, there really wasn't much going on. I mean, a couple of things here and there, but really nothing.
Yeah, and I'm from a very small European country, the Netherlands, and here it was even harder to find the movies. I mean, even finding the whole series to rent on VHS was already like a major task. So, but I was really, wanted to know more. I even went to the library and stuff like that. This was before the internet, trying to find anything I could, just a synopsis of one of the sequels. There was already like, okay, there's something still that I haven't seen. So, also back in those days, I didn't know how many sequels there were. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of these movies. I remember seeing Jason Goes to Hell when it was just, when it was like a new rental. And it was like, okay, Jason Goes to Hell. I mean, I didn't know there was a part 8 or a part 7. I had no clue. Maybe there were like 20 parts. So that was a very interesting time. But once I got online and I could find everything, already seen the series up to that point. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to gather every bit of information that I can find and put it on one website, and yeah, just to share it with the fans, just like me, just to see if there's like people out there. And also became a member of the Friday 13th forum, which was a community, not that big yet. But this was the fans connecting, and then there was a chat room. Do we still have chat room these days? I don't know, but and then everything came together, and the website, and yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I mean, my history with Friday the 13th is basically like I was sort of introduced to them as a kid, probably a little too young to be honest. So my uncle had rented them, and I was always intrigued by those covers. The hockey mask. I mean, part 3 intrigued me, and then of course you get the final chapter cover. That I mean, one of the best covers. Oh, yeah, there it is. So, I mean, and there it is right there too. The waxwork vinyl release of Final Chapter.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That stuff, when I was introduced to that, I was so curious, but I was also so frightened. It's scared. I was also a camper as a kid. My uncle, that same uncle, took me camping. He had a camper van, and we would go fishing and camping and so on. And so I had a little bit of a connection there. And so watching a horror movie that took place at a camp or in the woods, it was pretty scary to me. And so, I was never really that into Freddy. I was never into any of those, the other, let's say, classic slashers. I mean, I watched them, but I remember thinking kind of Hellraiser was off limits. Freddy was off limits. I was really scared as a kid of those two characters. But there was something about Jason that really stood out, and something about that series and the atmosphere that really stood out to me. And I did the same. I started just then consuming all of it, and eventually working in a video store, not a rental video store, one that you go in to actually buy videotapes, laser discs, and eventually DVDs and so on.
Yeah.
I bought all of I finally had the whole collection, I finally bought all the VHS tapes, and I was just watching them over and over again and just trying to absorb all the lore, the continuity, the different looks of Jason, different actors.
Yeah.
I really dove headfirst into that series.
Yeah, same for me. I already had seen Halloween. My friend, a friend of mine from school, his mom actually recorded Halloween from the British television, the BBC, because those movies were not even shown here on television. I mean, in the Netherlands, everything is unrated and everything is possible. I mean, especially in those days. But they didn't really play many horror movies on TV. So we saw Halloween. I mean, amazing. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It was
oh yeah,
wow. I mean, we started to make our own mask from paper, paper mache, whatever. So, and then, I mean, I already knew about Friday the 13th, because when I was a very young child, we would go to this video store. I mean, you would probably say it's a mom and pop video store.
Yes.
And the horror section always my eyes always went to the horror section, because there was the interesting covers. I remember seeing Halloween 4, 5, the first Hellraisers, and then there were Final Chapter, New Beginning, and Jason Lives, the mask, the hockey mask. I was like, okay, what's this? And I read the backside. It says a dude with an axe killing people. I was like, oh, when I grow up, I have to watch these. So eventually I did watch them, of course, but it was already a very interest in these movies before I had even seen them.
Same. It was the same for me. I mean, I was kind of lucky. They shouldn't have, but they let me rent them. You know what I mean? So I was able to eventually get the courage up and say, hey, all right, Jason Lives, and I definitely watched them out of order.
Yeah, same.
And the same as you, I would catch some of them on TV. I caught part 3 on TV, and whenever there was a commercial, I would change the channels, go back, and I would miss a little bit of stuff. But that was probably as far as watching Friday the 13th, Halloween, watching them on TV, and of course we get different versions of those, right? They had to film extra footage just to kind of fill in for more some of the more intense, bloodier scenes. And so I remember then renting them and being like, wait, this wasn't the movie I watched, or like that scene is missing. And so that was sort of the start of me trying to track down like all of that missing footage and going on eBay and eventually finding like DVDs of like TV cuts. And like I still have a final chapter TV cut where it incorporates all that TV footage and stuff like that. So I love stuff like that. And that's what
Yeah.
drew me to Jason Conquers.
Nice.
You were posting all that stuff and I was eating it up, man.
Yeah, and I actually been away for 25 years because maybe a little bit less, maybe 20, but at one point, life was changing and life went into a different direction. So, I couldn't really spend that much time anymore on the website. It was also like websites became more complex. So you had to learn new kind of coding and a lot of my stuff, I mean, basically all of it was put into boxes and storage and I had to move at one point. So I've been digging it out ever since I think it was last year, 2025, when at one point I got in touch with Planet CHH, who's also on YouTube. And Christian asked me like, hey, you want to show some of your stuff? So I'm like, okay. So I got a few of the boxes and I've showed him some of the things that I still owned. I did sell a lot of stuff as well, but I've been digging out a lot of stuff in the past months, and I found stuff like, oh, I didn't even knew I still had this. And also watching the movies with my son, who had never seen them, also sparked, like, oh man, these movies are so great. I mean, I did watch them throughout the years, and I played the video game and stuff like
Same.
that. But talking with Planet CHH on YouTube, and also watching my son enjoying the movies, that really it was like watching the movies again for the first time. So I was like,
yes.
like okay,
I do the same. I have friends. So I live in Austria. I'm an expat. I'm originally from New York, and I moved to Europe about 20 years ago. And so whenever I'm meeting up with friends or people, other Americans living in Austria, and we talk about movies, a lot of them have not seen any of the Friday the 13th. So we have marathons, and that's for me is like, oh, cool. I get to introduce these people to this series that I love. And I'm currently doing that right now with a friend of mine. We just finished Jason Takes Manhattan. And so it's also, yeah, like you said, it's like watching the movies for a first time and also just sort of refreshing your love for this as that goes on. I mean, like for me, Jason Goes to Hell has a special place in my heart because it's how I actually got to work at that video store when I was a teenager. Is around Christmas time, I walked in, they had the cardboard standee of Jason from Jason Takes Manhattan. And I went up to the manager of the store. I said, "Are you guys selling this?" She said, "Yes, you can buy it if you want." I bought it, and I said, "Look, can you just leave it in the shop? I'm gonna go walk around." It was in a mall in New Jersey. And I was walking around doing some Christmas shopping, and I came back to pick it up before I left. And she offered me a job at the video store. And I said, "Hey, yeah, definitely, for sure. I'm into movies, collecting." And so because of that Jason standee, I was able to get a job at that shop, and it kind of like projected me onto the path that of me eventually meeting my wife, moving to Europe, and so I have a little bit of a weird connection with Jason Goes to Hell, and I do enjoy the movie for what it is. I know it's not everybody's favorite, but like, I was kind of, I was really into that movie for a while because I was just trying to figure it out. I watch it often and be like, all right, I think I need to watch it another time just to see what director Adam Marcus was trying to put out there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The story of Jason Goes to Hell, I don't like the story, but I'm gonna say I do like the movie. I enjoy watching the movie. I mean, there's great scenes. There's a great atmosphere. I think there's a certain atmosphere in Jason Goes to Hell. Great actors, great special effects. I mean, the scene in the tent. I mean, the unrated one. I mean, that's one of the best kills of the whole franchise.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I also really like the soundtrack that.
I hope that gets released. I hope that gets a special vinyl release. I mean, I have all the others, and I really hope Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X gets its own release as well. But I mean, look, Jason Goes to Hell. I mean, it still kept Jason in the zeitgeist, in the community. Jason still is iconic in that movie, whether you like it or not. That opening scene of him getting blown up. Spoiler alert, guys! It happens in the beginning. Um, it is iconic, you know, and I think like even if you love or hate that movie, maybe it introduced some people to the series. Maybe, you know, I do know a lot of people that love that movie, a lot of people that hate that movie, but again, and I said this in the Hearts of Darkness documentary, people are still talking about it.
Yeah,
People are still
exactly.
talking about that movie. Jason remains iconic. The franchise endures. We're still getting stuff today. So it didn't kill the franchise. Like, if anything, it got us talking more about it. What I'm curious about is if they're going to take that lore from Jason Goes to Hell. And this is something you and I talk about quite often. If the Crystal Lake TV show is going to incorporate all of that history, as far as like the Necronomicon and all of those little story beats, if that's going to be incorporated into Crystal Lake.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do with it. I really hope it's like going back to the atmosphere from Friday the 13th and part 2. So that they even filmed in Blairstown. They did some scenes in Blairstown. I think that's already like awesome because none of the other movies actually went back to the camp of the first one or the town, because I don't think they filmed at the camp.
I mean, it
But
has a very unique look, Blairstown. I've been there. I've been to the Blairstown Diner. I've walked through those streets, and it has a very unique look. You can't miss it. When as soon as you step onto that street and you see that you know, that stone archway that Annie walks through, you know exactly where you are, and you feel like, oh my goodness, like Camp Crystal Lake isn't far from here.
no.
It's really interesting.
So yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about Crystal Lake a lot in the upcoming episodes. And like I said, we'll probably have some guests from Crystal Lake on here as well. Yeah, it's a very exciting time. I mean, a lot of people are, including ourselves, we are waiting for the next movie. There's still no update as of yet. What's going on? I know that the Jason Universe people have said they're working on it. Yeah, we'll
Let's
just
see.
have to be patient, I think. But let's hope it doesn't
Another
take
reason-
another 15 years.
Yeah, right. And that's another reason why we're here. We want to be able to, if we hear any updates, I mean, I'm sure you guys as fans, you guys are doing your own research. You're plugged in your own special way, but that's what we're going to be here for. You know, we want to, like you said before, we want to do movie reviews. We want to do franchise deep dives, and maybe even do some commentaries, have some fun with it, talk about the series that we love, especially collecting discussions, maybe even some convention coverage, and hearing from other fans. I mean, this is how we got together, is just by reaching out to each other, just talking about stuff that we love. So that's something we're hoping to do, is just sort of build a Friday the 13th community, something that we can all, where we can all talk about these things, these films, these characters, that we love and have loved for so long. And again, that's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. And then talking about, I heard you mention favorites. I mean, you talked about Jessica's Hell, but which Friday the 13th is your personal favorite?
Hands down, I'll tell you right now, my favorite is Final Chapter. And now I love Final Chapter. I do have a nostalgic favorite, which every time I watch it, I'm just, I don't know, I get a little, and I love Jason Lives. I mean, honestly, there's something each of the movies offers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Jason Takes Manhattan. So, my nostalgic favorite is New Blood. That was the first Friday I saw in the theater, and I was very young. And there was just something about the way Kane Hodder looked, that Jason, it seemed a bit more, and maybe this sounds funny, he seemed a bit more darker, dangerous, than some of, than maybe CJ Graham's, Jason. He just looked, I mean, the makeup effects in that film is just incredible. And it's just a shame that the MPAA cut that movie down to what it did. But even for what it is and what was released, I really enjoy watching New Blood. Final Chapter, hands down, my favorite. It is absolutely a turning point in the Friday the 13th series, from a character standpoint, from also what we get from Jason. Jason goes from one being to a revenant in a couple of movies later, and we get the really interesting character of Tommy Jarvis.
Yeah.
So I would say I think Final Chapter is really the ultimate Friday film. They kind of like they took the formula of the three movies that came before and they really fine tuned it, and Joe Zito really made I would say the ultimate Friday the 13th film. And of course we get classic Jason, Ted White, who is
Yeah.
also my favorite Jason. Ted White is a menacing, scary Jason. That one will always stay number one for me, just from story standpoint, from kills standpoint, from all of it. It's definitely Final Chapter. How about you?
Well, I told you about the video store that had the covers. I mean, this is one of the X rentals. It's not the actual one that I saw back then. Um, but yeah, I saw these covers. I was like, okay, I have to watch these at one point. And I got a little bit older, like a couple of years went by, and then this video store closed down. But there was a new one coming up. So yeah, I was like, okay, let's see if they have like Friday the 13th. And they had it, but not the ones with the hockey mask. They had the one with Alice on the cover.
Oh yes, I remember that.
This was the cover that I saw in the new video store that we had in our town. Friday 13th, the first one. Yeah, already saw Halloween. Then I think a few months later we saw this one, and my friend was already like, Halloween is the best movie ever, and I agreed with him until I saw Friday 13th Part One. The kills. There's basically no blood in Halloween, and the effects, and also the atmosphere of the camp, the woods, and yeah, that just I got drawn to it. So
Yeah,
my favorite definitely is the first one, but that's also because of nostalgia, because of the memories I have, but also part two and the final chapter, which I also think is the best slasher movie ever made. Because like you talked already about Ted White, but yeah, he's like menacing. He's like a force. He's like a force in the movies. Once he
it,
grabs you, you're gone.
and it has characters that you actually care about. I mean,
Same. Yeah.
you notice like in the later films, they're just they're cookie cutter characters. They're not so. I mean, at least I'm talking about like let's say the fodder of the film. Like some of the main characters are, I mean, you care about them, but like some of the other characters you really don't care about. I mean, like in Final Chapter, you care about like all those kids. There's something going on. There's a story. There are relationships. Everybody's and it seems very realistic. And I think that's something that Final Chapter does very well. I mean I didn't see the original Friday. I mean, until I had already seen part 3, part 4, part 7. I finally went back to the first Friday, and then I was expecting, of course, Jason to be in that, and then my mind was blown, of course, by that reveal. I agree. I think Friday Part 2 is one of the best sequels to a slasher ever made.
Yeah.
Introduction of Jason, and the camp training, the counselor training center. It was a great idea. The campfire story that Paul tells is just incredible. I mean, how often was that tale used in further Friday sequels? It was always the opener to a lot of the recaps of the films.
Yeah.
So again, the atmosphere is amazing. It kind of like throws a monkey wrench into the formula by like having half of the kids go off and then the other half stay behind. So it's like it was very well done.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I also really like about the earlier Fridays is you have these shots of the woods. You have like a shot of the thunderstorm coming, and like these little like water dripping on the leaves. I mean, they're like these little shots, but I think they really add to the whole atmosphere of the movies. And these kind of shots we didn't get in the later sequels. And also, like you said, some of the characters just were introduced to be killed off 1 minute later, like a new beginning. But I'm gonna be honest, I do like a new beginning quite a lot. I just like the whole. Yeah, it's a little different. It's sleazy. I mean, I'm sorry. I just really like the whole vibe of that as well. And part 5 also has like a lot of iconic scenes and characters, like Reggie the Reckless and Demon, his his brother. So
Damn enchiladas.
yeah, exactly. That's like a classic. That's like a classic Friday.
It
So
is. It is. It is. And to be honest, too, one of the best looking Jasons is hallucination Jason in the hospital. Oh my goodness, is that a good looking Jason?
yeah, I agree.
And while that movie also doesn't get much love, you have to imagine back in the day, people were going to a Friday the 13th movie to see Jason. And when they didn't get that, they didn't have the other movies to kind of like pop in and say, well, I'll get my Jason fix with Jason Lives and New Blood. It was just that movie, and people left the theater probably a little disappointed. I get that. And I do feel like that it was New Beginning was a little bit of a sort of a detour for the series, and they course corrected again with Jason Lives, which I think was the right move. Of course, people wanted Jason, but I also think that New Beginning it's fine for what it is. Some people may be included in the canon, some people don't. Some people will take the story from final chapter and go directly to Jason Lives. That's fine. But I do enjoy it, and again, like you said, there's plenty of scenes in there that are quite enjoyable. And I didn't mind the whole Jason impersonator storyline. I thought it was
No, I remember because the Friday 13th 4, I mean the final chapter and New Beginning were only shown on Dutch television one time in the 90s.
Oh wow.
And I wasn't able to rent them, so recorded them off the television, and the 1 week was Friday 4, then the week after 5. So I was, I saw 4. I was like, wow, this is like, I found it really scary because I don't know, 14 or something. So I found it like really like, okay, wow. And then 5, and one of my friends, because I had to wait a couple of days before I could watch the tape, because I probably had other stuff to do, whatever, school. And he was like, yeah, the part 5 one, it's not even Jason. So he basically already spoiled them. I'm like, what? Not Jason? I mean, I saw the video cover in the video store. There's a hockey mask there, so it is Jason. So, but then watching it and already have like this knowledge, like, okay, it's not Jason, but then saw him in a dream sequence, and yeah, but I never really had the like, oh, it's not Jason. Oh, this movie sucks. No, I never really had that.
Yeah, me neither. And to be honest, too, like as someone that has an editing background, I was in movie marketing for a long time, and you kind of like when you watch movies, you get certain cues from the edits, from the editing, and like if you just watch that movie, you clearly see that they're focusing on Roy. Me as a detail, I notice details in films. As soon as you see those blue marks, the blue chevrons, you say, oh well, that's not the actual hockey mask. There's also no cut and there's no axe mark. Where did that go? Jason just looks different. He's wearing a basically a Michael Myers boiler suit. So it's like stuff like that you notice, and you kind of already are prepared that it's not going to exactly be Jason.
No, and also part 5 was also rushed into production. So they basically used the script they were going to use for part 3, which was originally part 3 was going to be Ginny in a mental hospital.
Yes.
So they used stuff from that, and it was also like the Boston guys, especially Phil Scuderi, who should be mentioned way more often because he was like a creative force, and he was also the one that said like,
Jason,
Tommy is going to be, we're going to slowly transform Tommy into becoming Jason. I mean, that didn't work. Jason came back in part 6. But there's a lot of interesting history there. So
there's so much history, and again, that's why we're here. We want to deep dive into that stuff, and of course, as you've heard already, we will probably detour into stuff that we want to talk about, stuff that we like. So that's basically what it's going to be. Just having a conversation and the listeners out there being a part of that, like you're just hanging out with us, and we're all talking about Friday the 13th. We want to also make sure that we hear from the other fans out there. We want to create a community, and we would love to hear what you guys think and what your favorites are, and what you would also like to see Lammert and I talk about. Because we have ideas for the podcast, we have things that we want to do, but we also want to make sure that we're going to be giving the listeners what they want as well, what they want to hear.
Yes. You sent me a couple of pictures.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
I'm going to look them up right now. And there's the first one.
Oh, my goodness.
Is that you?
Handsome young guy. That picture was taken at a Planet Hollywood. I believe that was in San Diego, California. Probably the year 2000, maybe even a little bit before that. And that is the knife that killed Jason, haha, in Jason Goes to Hell. And you could see at the bottom there's Jason grabbing Steven, and they have a little sort of write-up about Kane Hodder there. I was so excited when I saw that. I absolutely had to have a picture taken with that. So yeah, really, really cool to see that. But I mean, also that same knife was used in, I believe, in Evil Dead 2. That's the same prop.
Oh, you look so young there.
Yeah, I know. Wow. And now look at me. Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, it's
but
amazing.
I was so excited when I saw that. I walked in, and Planet Hollywood's, like, back in the day, like, there would just be all kinds of cool stuff and sometimes not so cool stuff. But, like, we were, my girlfriend and I at the time were on vacation in San Diego. We went into the Planet Hollywood. My eyes went directly to that. I went over. I said, "You have to take a picture of me with this dagger right now," because also at that point we weren't sure if we were going to get anything else Friday the 13th or Jason was. It was the final Friday, so to see that,
yeah, and then a couple of years later, there's this.
Oh, yes. So that was taken on a Friday the 13th, actually.
Nice.
And at the Blairstown Diner.
Yeah.
They were having an event there, and I flew over to the States, I think, for a wedding, and I was staying with my brother, who at that time was not living so far away from Blairstown. And so we decided to go on Friday the 13th and have breakfast at the Blairstown Diner. And Jason was there. The Jason from Jason Takes Manhattan was there. And we as you could see by the look on my face, I wasn't quite sure what he was going to do with that axe, but it turned out okay. I'm still here. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it's also a great looking cosplay, Jason, I think.
He looked great. He looked great. So it really nice that we were able to take a photo together.
I was looking for old photos of my room where I had like all the posters up, and the very first collectibles that came out in the late 90s, like the McFarlane figure, I think was the very first. I mean, you already had a model kit and maybe a few other little items, but the McFarlane figure from Jason Goes to Hell.
I had that in my office in New York City. That and that original cardboard standee. I still had that after all those years in my office in New York City. So those were really like two of the things I and a mini framed poster of the original Friday, which is what you have behind you. I had those things in my office.
Yeah, for me this is a trip down memory lane, and also the Part 7 Uncut campaign that we did. I did it together with another guy from the Friday 13th internet message board. And we also were in contact with John Carl Bickler, the director. And we were like, hey, you have to get this out there. So we had the address where people could write and send an email. So, a lot of fans did. And I mean,
you guys were partially successful in that. I mean, we got a lot of that. I mean, in VHS footage, VHS quality footage, but it made it on the Scream Factory Blu-ray. I mean, unfortunately, I think all of those elements were destroyed.
Yeah.
The original film elements were destroyed, but I mean, look, I'm partially successful with that campaign.
Yeah, and the original footage was destroyed in the early 90s. And a couple of years after we did this campaign, we never got a reply from Paramount or whoever was in charge. But a couple of years later, they did the special edition DVDs. Yep. This was before, years before Scream Factory got their hands on the franchise.
Yes,
and they actually had the work print VHS footage on there, and this is the best footage there is. And I think
I was so excited when that came out. Like, to be honest, like to see all of that footage. was
Yeah,
just like, it was a gold mine for me to actually see all that stuff. I couldn't believe that it actually made it onto a DVD. I mean, which is also like really the one of the beautiful parts about physical media is that just all that stuff that you never thought you'd ever see finally makes it there. And
yeah, yeah. And then talking about DVDs, this was released in the UK,
yep.
the Jason Goes to Hell DVD, and actually the company Pathé, actually one of the people working there got in touch with me, like, "Hey, we're doing a Jason Goes to Hell DVD. Do you have any stuff we could
Do
put on
I?
there?" And I was like, I have like a copy of the work print. I have a lot of images, a lot of information, most of it in my head. So
Yes.
so I wrote them a lot of stuff, and I was like, okay, send you the footage. I mean, this was also in the 2000s, so I could not send them like a big file. So I was like, hey, do I need to make a copy of my VHS, whatever? And then they were like, okay, thank you, but we cannot use any of that because of licensing issues, rights. I was like, okay, but then why did you ask me? So I was like, okay. But then once I got the DVD, and this was also the first time it was released unrated in the UK, but
Oh,
also
okay.
I think in other parts of Europe. But they did actually put like this little extra writing in the as a special feature on the DVD next to the trailer, and they
Oh, there.
actually mentioned the old the old website on there when it was released. So that was really cool to see. Like, hey, I'm mentioned there, and
Yeah.
later also I helped a little bit with 2 books on the franchise. Yeah, which I provided some information and pictures. Like the one of the first book was called Making Friday 13th, The Legend
Mhm.
of Camp Blood, and the other one was called On Location in Blairstown,
Yes.
which I did not provide really much to, but I think the guy David is his name. He actually probably used some of the stuff that I provided back years before that. So yeah, but
That was
it's
another thing that sort of got us connected was when we were showing each other things in our Friday the 13th collections, and I sent you a photo, and you said, "Hey, that book right there, open up to page whatever whatever it was." And I
yeah.
did it. There's your name. It's like, oh, all right, street cred. There he is, right there. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
This was that was like I said, the early 2000s. I mean, the late 90s till the early 2000s was like magical time. I mean, still great. I mean, horror is everywhere today on the web. I mean, look on social media. There's so many Friday 13th fans now. It's so cool to see. I think also the game, uh, you know, gave birth to a lot of Friday 13th fans.
I agree with
Especially
that. Yeah.
younger people. So I think the game was really important. It's such a shame that it didn't.
I mean, and think about this, like as kids, that when we're devouring those movies, and we get the Friday the 13th NES game, which a lot of people just also didn't hate and was notoriously hard. I mean, did we ever think we would get a game so immersive that we could either play as Jason or counselors running around and having an open world with maps that are so well done, from each of the movies, each different versions of Jason. I mean, it was an absolute dream as a Friday the 13th fan to have that game. And yeah, it's a shame it's really not not playable anymore. Let's just say.
As I'm not much of a gamer, but I did really play the Friday 13 game when it came out. I played it day and night.
Yeah, I played it quite a bit. I mean, my ultimate goal was just to unlock specific versions of Jason. Like, that was the only reason why I was playing. It was like, oh, I need New Blood Jason. I need I need Final
Yeah.
Chapter Jason. And that was really my main, because I'm not really a big gamer either, but like that was a game I specifically wanted to experience and play. And it might have been even the reason why I got a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, same. I bought a PlayStation just to play the game.
Yep.
And
and it was well made. It really was.
Yeah, the details, the soundtrack. I mean, also the small little items in the cabins. Like you could see in the movies, like certain posters were actually the same.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Pamela tapes. How
yeah,
cool is that? Like yeah, I hope in the future with whatever Jason Universe is gonna be putting out there. I mean, I'm not really into the whole what is it? Dead by Dawn, Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight, yeah.
Dead by Day. That right there should just it goes to tell you like how much interest I have in that. I don't even know the name of the game, but like just the fact that like okay, Jason like has a skin in that game, but I want something Friday the 13th specific, and I think most of the fans do.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're gonna get something like that in the future. Let's see. That's what we're here for. As soon as we hear something, hear something.
Yeah, I mean the last thing I heard from one of the people from Jason Universe a couple of months ago is that they are working on something. So, but I mean it's great that other games get Jason, Fortnite
That's
and Dead
fine.
by Daylight.
Sure.
I mean it's great. That's awesome that Jason's there. But, we the fans really would like a standalone game, just
And
like the
Jason deserves
Jason
more
one.
than that. That
Yeah,
character is now timeless, and that character, that world, that series deserves some more attention. And hopefully with the series coming out, and if there's a movie coming out, I mean, Sweet Revenge kind of touched on that nerve a bit again. It's putting Jason back into the public eye once again. So let's see what we get.
exciting times coming up.
It is exciting times, and we're here for it. We're here for it.
Yes, and we're going to cover more stuff, of course, and yeah, we'll have a whole box of things coming at you.
You literally will have a whole box of things because the amount of stuff that you have, man, I'm telling you, it's just incredible. And so, like I said, we're going to be a little bit of a mix of all these things. Just show like we said earlier, showing memorabilia, talking about the movies, talking about the music, talking about all of it, the series as a whole, and just sharing our love of this series with you, and hopefully you will do the same with us. We hope that you find you found this channel because of your love for Friday the 13th, and we hope to hear from you. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that stuff. We are so excited to hear from everybody, and hopefully, as an introduction episode, a little bit about us, and now we want to know a little bit about you all. So we hope to hear from you. And Lammert, this was really a lot of fun, man. I'm glad we got to kind of finally do it and kind of break the mold and get to some of the more interesting stuff that we have planned for the show.
Yeah, and that's the perfect monologue to end the first episode. I have nothing more to add.
Well, I have something to add. Jason's out there.